Hello and welcome to The Stinger, a superfan's guide to Marvel, Star Wars, and much more in fandom. I'm Josh Gann, and with me today, they've asked me to join them at the end of time. It's Trent Neely and Joseph Sneed. How we doing, guys?
Doing pretty great. It's going to be a nice contest of champions, if you will.
I'm looking forward to it. Always look forward to a good villain fight.
Someone could say you've entered your villain era. I don't know. That's what I've heard. That's what I've heard. It's a lovely day to try out a new episode style on the podcast today. We are doing a power ranking here for you, the fans, of the best MCU villains to date. As always, thank you all for being here. Thank you all for listening. You can subscribe wherever you get your podcast. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can follow us on Instagram and TikTok at The Stinger Pod. All right. So today, like I said, we are ranking the best villains in the MCU to date. It's spooky season. Halloween is right around the corner. In fact, it might be Halloween, or it may have just passed when you were listening to this episode. Guys, another power ranking question for you real quick. Where does Halloween rank in your holidays?
I would probably put it definitely after Christmas and actually I'll put it ahead of Thanksgiving.
Oh,
yeah, it's probably the number 2,
okay,
right behind Christmas for me.
There are a few times a year that I get pretty much my all-time favorite food, my mom's crock-pot macaroni and cheese. Among those are Christmas, Thanksgiving, and Easter. So Halloween is already behind those.
I thought you were about to say Halloween.
I forgot about Easter for a second.
I thought you were about to say, and on Halloween, my mom breaks out the mac and cheese.
No, the mac and cheese. I think we gotta shout out, as older people now. We gotta shout out Labor Day.
It's true.
We get off.
This is wild.
I think we got to shout out Arbor Day because trees are cool.
Hey, we love the trees.
Day. St. Patrick's Day is like the only day of the year you get corned beef. Obviously, we have to take a moment to recognize Memorial Day and Veterans Day just for their significance.
Absolutely.
So I think I'm putting Halloween kind of low on holidays, though. Halloween doesn't even have the best Charlie Brown special, although it's a good one. I think I would put that one above the Thanksgiving one.
I have a real soft spot for the Thanksgiving one, but the Christmas one is the best one.
The Christmas one is by far the best one. But I think the Halloween one is a lot of fun.
Wow, Joseph, if this is any indicator for our episode today, you have a lot going on in your brain making these decisions. I didn't think we'd get to Charlie Brown specials this early in the podcast.
Yeah, and I like Halloween. But there's just a lot of other holidays that I like more.
That's
fair. All right, how about this then? What was the best candy that you would pick out of your trick-or-treat basket? Like, what's what you were looking for?
Reese's
Tootsie
all day.
Rolls.
Yeah. Oh, Tootsie Rolls. Really?
Yeah. I was big
on
Tootsie Rolls as a kid. Yeah, not anymore,
okay.
But I used to be.
I was going to ask, is that a current obsession? No?
No, now it's the little mini Hershey bars. Like
those are good. Those are good.
So yes, I actually feel very strongly about like candy sizes. Like this is a thing.
Oh, Trent, please clear out.
I don't like the standard size Reese's cups. They either have to be the tiny ones or they have to be the seasonal specialty things like the eggs.
Really? Right. So you're never gonna pick out the the big bag of M&Ms or anything like that.
M&Ms are different because they're like individual anyway. I just don't like when they supersize like a piece of candy, like a king size chocolate bar for Hershey or something like that. I think that the mini Hershey bars are the best form of the Hershey bar.
Interesting.
No, I like the jumbo one. I like just the gigantic Hershey bar. I got a hot take.
Well, you're wrong,
Reese's,
Joseph.
Though. Oh, you got a hot take? You coming for my candy?
I don't particularly care for like Reese's cups. But
what?
The eggs, the pumpkins, and the trees are amazing. And my favorite is the trees.
So I thought the tree, like, I think they got a bad batch at the factory. The trees were messed up last year. Like, I just had my first pumpkin. I think that, because I like what I like about the specialty ones is they have a little extra peanut butter in them.
Yes.
But sometimes the peanut butter goes too far. But I think the pumpkin for Halloween, like, they're good this year. The pumpkin shape is good for this. Oh, Josh, you've opened a wrong door here.
The eggs were really good this year. I loved the trees last year. I had some pumpkins, but those are really the only ones that I care for. I don't really care. I mean, I don't hate them.
Okay, that's what I see. I see where you're coming from now. I can understand that. The specialty ones are great. I'm not trying to say that, but when you just came out and said, I don't like Reese's Cups, I wanted to wage war against you.
No, I said I don't really care for the Reese's Cups that much.
All right.
I like Hershey bars, I like Musketeer bars, but I don't ever go for the Reese's stuff unless it's the special ones.
I like Reese's. I would eat Reese's anything. In fact, I think Reese's Pieces are superior to M&M's.
No, can't go there. I appreciate you, but I can't do that.
So there's two snacks I will eat in the movie theater. I will either get a giant bucket of popcorn with butter, or I will get Reese's Pieces. And those are my sweet spots.
I'm straight up popcorn. That's the only thing I get.
Yeah, I mean, popcorn,
except for
popcorn and butter.
Yeah, it's always popcorn. Okay, so I will here quick story time real quick, and then we'll move on. This summer we went and saw Oppenheimer, and we did Oppenheimer and Barbie on the same day, obviously. So like, went to see Oppenheimer in the morning. It was like a 10 a.m. showtime, and I slept in. I went with Zachary, Haley's brother. He's been on the podcast, right? We stopped and got Chick-fil-A before the movie so we could have it during the movie. You know, we need some sustenance for a 3-hour movie, and we haven't had breakfast. And so I have my Chick-fil-A biscuit in hand, pull it out of my hoodie pocket, unwrap it in the middle of Oppenheimer, start eating it. And then I take a bite and I'm like, whoa, that got a little kick to it. And then I'm like, oh, that's right. I remembered in the moment that I had ordered the spicy chicken sandwich because we were watching Oppenheimer. Like, it was a purposeful decision because of the theme of Oppenheimer.
I still have to try their spicy chicken biscuit because I'm
big
right now.
It was a surprise.
I'm big right now on their chicken hash brown scramble burrito.
Wow. Okay. I haven't tried that one yet.
Have you guys tried the honey pepper pimento sandwich?
I have. Have you tried it?
I have not.
I got to know. Have you tried it?
Yeah, it's pretty good, right?
It's good. It was like it was almost a little too much for me, though. I think I could have did without the maple syrup.
See, I think it's honey.
Or honey. Yeah, not syrup. The honey.
See, I thought that too, and it may have just been the sandwich you got because I've gotten it 2 other times since, and it's been more balanced. So I would encourage you to try it maybe one more time before it goes out. Because my thing with Chick-fil-A, love Chick-fil-A. By the way, we're not sponsored. I would love to be, but
free ads, baby.
But like my thing with Chick-fil-A that bothers, they don't do any like specialty sandwiches that often. Like,
no, they don't.
The Smokehouse Barbecue a couple years ago, that sandwich is incredible, and they had it for like 2 months, and then it's just been gone, and I'm so sad.
I never had that once. I never even knew that one existed.
Yep, see?
They had a trial run that I wanted, but it didn't come to Danville, of the Chick-fil-A fish sandwich. Oh. And I really like fish, so I think I would have been down with it. I wanted to try it.
I would love that for you. I don't think I could do it. All right.
It's not for everybody.
Not for the faint of heart. Okay. Now that Food Corner is out of the way, I'm really glad we had entered this segment into the podcast today. We are actually here to discuss MCU villains, and really for 2 reasons. One, it's Halloween, and you know I feel like any holiday, if there's any holiday that makes us think of villains, it's got to be Halloween. A lot of villain costumes going around. And then 2, one of the greatest MCU villains of all time just happens to have his 2nd season of his television show out right now. That's Loki. First, we are going to rank the best MCU villains, and the way we are going to do that is we have compiled a list of 25 MCU villains because there's a lot of them. I was running through the list trying to make this sheet today, and I was like, dang, there have been so many movies and so many villains, because some movies have multiple villains. So it's like I feel like it's got to be up until like the 60s and 70s of how many Marvel villains there are at this point. Anyways, it's strictly MCU. Yeah. It's strictly MCU, and it is 25. And I'm not going to list them all to you here now because you will hear them as we go throughout the process today. But the way this is going to work is in our list of 25, I am using a website. Shout out to, this is more free ads. Shout out to the website Pub Meeple. It's a little board game website, and they have created what's called a ranking engine. What happens is we're able to put all of the villains into a rankings generator, and it's going to give us matchups where the three of us will have to choose, is X villain better than Y villain? You know, is Thanos better than Loki, or is Loki better than Thanos? And we have to vote which villain we think is better. When we do that, it feeds this algorithm and once we answer enough of these matchups, it's able to properly rank who based on our decisions, who we think as a collective unit is the best MCU villain ranked 1 through 25. And so it'll give us this ranking, and then at the end we can discuss, do we think they did it right, or do we think there's a better list to represent the Stinger official power ranking of MCU villains? So those are the ground rules. Before we get started, I wanted to ask you guys this question, really to kind of set the tone for our decision-making process today. The MCU has been around for a long time. We've had iterations of okay to not so great villains, and then we've had iterations of truly extraordinary villains, and those are the ones we're going to talk most about today. In your opinion, within the context of the MCU specifically, what makes a good villain?
I think it really depends on the story, right? Because I think if you go to like the technical, really inside baseball of like screenwriting and stuff, it's like the best villains are the ones that are uniquely crafted to challenge protagonists. And so it really depends on can they challenge a protagonist specifically? And I think the best villains, like, I should answer this by saying, like, the weak villains for me are the ones that are just like the same as the hero, but they're just bad. And let's be honest, Marvel has done that a couple times, especially in the Phase 1 era. And so I don't find that compelling. I think it's ones where it's like they just have a whole different approach to everything, like from the hero. It's like they fight differently, they think differently, they strategize differently, and they're just so philosophically the antithesis of whatever the protagonist is. I think that's what really registers. And also it helps if you just have a really strong performance as well from whoever the actor or actress is.
I think for Marvel movies and for any movie in general, your top thing for your villain is motivation. Mm-hmm. So you could have someone like in like a movie that we all like the Emperor, whose motivation is like, I'm evil, and that's it. But he goes all in on his motivation of like, nope, I just want to be evil. And then you have some other villains that, I'll give you a Marvel one that is not an MCU one, but is one of my favorite villains. Someone like Magneto, who's like, okay, he's definitely bad, but I kind of get why. Right. It kind of makes a lot of sense why he's bad. So I think just their motivations, and we don't really need the Emperor's backstory, but Magneto's is pretty important to who he is. I think motivation is the biggest one.
Absolutely. Yeah. I agree with both of you. I think there's no perfect formula, but it is some combination of motivation and the audience being able to understand what it is and then empathize with the villain a little bit. I think it's a good mixture of that and the actor or actress's performance. I mean, like I think even a poorly written villain can kind of leap off the screen if it's a really good performance behind it. And we've seen that in the Marvel universe before as well. So, okay. Those are the ground rules. We are doing this ranking based on who we think is the better villain, not who we think would win in a fight. Just want to clarify that for the audience. This is purely based on how effective they were as villains in their movies and in the Marvel Cinematic Universe as a whole. All right. Trent, Joseph, you guys ready?
Let's do it.
All right. So our first matchup today, and these are going to go quick. We've got a lot of iterations of this to do. Some of them may require more debate, but our first one, I could see this one being a toss-up, actually. It is Wenwu from Shang-Chi's father, versus Hela, Thor's sister, from Thor Ragnarok. What do we think? Trent, we'll do Trent, Joseph, and then me, and majority wins.
Yeah, I think for this one, I'll borrow from like a popular meme that I've seen about this movie many times since it came out. I think you got to go Hela because like she succeeded in her villain play. Like they have to pull out the ex machina of Surtur, literally destroying Asgard to keep her from winning. Like, but she succeeds wholly and completely in what she's trying to do. And Wenwu's great. Now that I'm saying that, Wenwu kind of does as well. Like he had this whole empire going for like thousands of years, literally.
Yeah.
And it was just that he got tricked by a dragon, which is still, by the way, one of my favorite things that's happened in the MCU. And like that's the only reason he lost. But yeah, I think on pure awesomeness and the fact that Hela can just like throw spears around that materialize out of nowhere, and it's Cate Blanchett, I'm giving it a slight edge.
Interesting.
It's close. It's close.
Interesting. All right, Joseph.
It's not close for me. I'm picking Wenwu.
Oh,
I loved Shang-Chi. I thought he was a great villain. A lot of what you want to see with villains like that too is their connection with the hero. It's like, oh, he's the hero's dad, so we've got this like family dynamic, and then obviously his sister, and his powers were cool with the 10 rings, and Hela's was kind of like, I throw swords at people. Sorry, Trent.
I think that's kind of cool, but I hear what you're saying.
I agree with Trent. I think it's cool too.
But yeah, plus Shang-Chi was like one of my favorite movies, maybe my favorite movie of Phase 4, up there with like Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. But yeah, it's not close for me. I think Hela's a little forgettable. So
interesting.
I'm gonna say Wenwu.
Forgettable is strong. I disagree. I'm also going to vote Wenwu. I'm
not mad about that at all.
I'm with Joseph on this one, but Hela was really cool because it's like, oh, you thought Thor and Loki were the only in this messed up dysfunctional family. Let's throw another dysfunctional family member into the mix. And Hela, like when she grabs Thor's hammer and just crushes it, that lets you know right off the bat she's about that action. But I think Wenwu it struck a deeper emotional chord with me, and I think for Shang-Chi in the movie, it was one of the multiple times watching an MCU movie where I'm like, why did they kill this villain? I would love if Wenwu was still around for a second installment of Shang-Chi. So I'm going to pick Wenwu.
I will say one good thing about Hela. She is responsible for giving us the coolest look Thor has ever had.
Oh, yes, that is true. You're absolutely right.
Very true.
Very true. All right, Wenwu wins by majority. Our next matchup, we have Zemo from Civil War and technically Falcon and the Winter Soldier 2. And he is matched up against Arthur Harrow, our villain from Moon Knight.
I think for this one, I got to go with Zemo. I've always liked Zemo. I thought he was underappreciated. Again, he kind of succeeded in what he was trying to do. You know, Black Panther says like, you failed, and he's like, did I? They're divided. Arthur Harrow is great. I love Ethan Hawke, but at the end of the day, he's just an avatar for like an evil Egyptian god that theoretically anyone can pick, right? And so for that reason alone, since he's too easy to sub out, whereas Zemo has this very understandable backstory, like we were talking about with his family and all that stuff, I got to go give it to Baron Zemo.
I'll go Zemo.
Yeah, I think this is an easy one. I will also pick Zemo. I won't give my cards away too much, but I think Zemo is high on the list. I don't think he's just invited to the dance. I think he's high on the list of Marvel villains because of how effective he was. So Zemo wins, and we're on to our next matchup. We have Ronan from Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one. And then we have Green Goblin from No Way Home. So our friend from the Sam Raimi Spider-Man universe hops in, and it's Norman Osborn, Green Goblin. Trent, you take it off.
Yeah, I mean, I think part of this is nostalgia, but I got to go with Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin. I mean, the fact that he took punches from Spider-Man and laughed, and he's got all the tech. Ronan, if he doesn't have that Power Stone helping him out, it's not that much of a physical fight, and he doesn't seem to be as much of a master strategist as Norman Osborn can be. So yeah, I'm giving Green Goblin the edge on this one.
I'll also take Green Goblin in this one. I think Ronan is another one that kind of falls into forgettable category.
Yeah, it's one of the he's in our top 25 list, so I don't know what that says about MCU villains, but it's one of those things where I think the performance is good, and he is kind of like this brooding force, which is just helpful for a villain, but at the end of the day, he was an obstacle in the path that the Guardians were eventually pretty easily able to wipe out of the way. Yeah, I will also vote Green Goblin. So Green Goblin wins that matchup. All right, next, an intriguing one here. Ego from the next Guardians of the Galaxy movie, Star-Lord's father versus Loki, our friendly god of mischief who's now a hero. What do you guys think of this matchup here?
It's interesting. Ego can do so much stuff when he's on his own turf, but I think as an overall villain, just wanting to like spread his essence in the universe, and whereas Loki, just go. I don't know. There's no
like
really
way
to phrase
the way you phrased that.
Whereas Loki, we got the hand-to-hand combat, the invulnerability, and just that he can be that little trickster and that master strategy stuff. I got to give it to our boy Loki, and just he's Tom Hiddleston. What an icon for the MCU.
Oh my gosh.
So I got to give it to Loki.
Yeah, I'll go Loki. I feel like I'm roasting the villains because Guardians 2 is not really among my favorite of the Marvel movies. And Loki's just been so charismatic and getting up to what I lovingly call hooligandery over the years of the MCU. I don't think this one is close. I'm taking Loki.
Hooligandery is a great word. I'm adding that to my dictionary. That's for sure.
Yeah, petitioning Webster tomorrow morning. Be like, hooligandery. call Joseph Sneed.
Yeah, this was not fair. I mean, Loki's in the GOAT conversation. I was thinking about this as this came up. Loki carries so much of the weight of kicking off the MCU, and he's kind of carrying the weight of reviving the MCU now. It's kind of crazy. Like, this character has... You would think we'd be done with Loki, but somehow he keeps cranking out classics. So... Loki wins.
Somehow Loki returned.
Yeah, somehow Loki returned, truly. Loki wins, and our next matchup, two villains from the multiverse saga. First, we got Kang the Conqueror. Specifically, we are talking about the Kang variant from Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, and he's matched up against Wanda Maximoff. I will leave this up to y'all's interpretation of who you think of Wanda as a villain. Is it both WandaVision and Multiverse of Madness, or is it just Multiverse of Madness, or some other choice? What do you guys think of this one?
I think this is pretty easy Wanda for me. I think just the way that she can literally bend reality makes her a bit of a cheat code. So much so that right now it seems that the MCU kind of had to do away with the character at the end of Multiverse of Madness, because it's like, if we're gonna keep her at this level of OP, how does anybody do anything? And I think just like I know not everybody loved how it was done, but I thought the whole Westview story and like her just trying to reach her kids taken to the ultimate extreme, I think that was a really cool story that they they let Elizabeth Olsen take the character on. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Wanda.
Quick interjection. Joseph, you showed us before the call that you are in the possession of the brand new book, the MCU, the official MCU timeline. Yeah, there it is, right there for all the world to see.
More free advertising.
More free advertising. We're just dishing them out this episode. But I saw somewhere since the release of this book this week that they did indeed call out the death of Wanda Maximoff in this book. They called that event the death. There's a lot of speculation on if she actually died, but this book, the official MCU timeline book, is saying that she died.
Yes, I've found it right here. Page 285.
Wow. All right. Quick.
She destroys Wundagore and collapses it upon herself, ending 2 great threats to all of the multiverse.
All right. There you go. So there you have it. Wanda's dead. At least that version of Wanda. Joseph.
Well, one thing I've seen is Scarlet Witch is dead, but Wanda could come back.
Okay. I don't hate that theory. Joseph, who would you pick in this battle?
I enjoyed Kang in Quantumania, and I didn't hate Quantumania as much as other people did. I was like, it's fine. It's not great. But I think I'm going to have to go with Wanda too. Remember I talked about motivations. I think they did it kind of messy, but I think her motivations were better for being a villain. She had like a really, really bad day in Endgame and then kind of went crazy and then got like a Satan book that corrupted her mind and she turned all evil and such. So I think I'm going to go with Wanda as well.
I feel like it wasn't the motive. I agree with you. I feel like the motivation was there. It was just the execution. It was the way in which that motivation was revealed that kind of derailed the movie. I also am picking Wanda because Kang the Conqueror was beat by ants. I expected more from the new Thanos. I'm picking Wanda Maximoff. Our next battle, Gore the God Butcher versus Justin Hammer. Trent, go ahead.
Let me tell you about the greatest MCU villain ever created, called Justin Hammer. No, I mean, in all seriousness, I do love that performance. Sam Rockwell is so great. I've actually rewatched Iron Man 2 shockingly a lot. I think because of this performance. I mean, the scene where he tries to sell all the weapons to Rhodey, come on. Great scene. That said, then you get Christian Bale doing like literal Shakespearean stuff in Love and Thunder. Like, I know people have issues with Love and Thunder. I do too, although I like it more than most, I think. But opening a movie where his daughter's dying and he's like pleading to his God, and then like his God doesn't care basically. And then he gets a cool new emo paint job and he gets a sword. I mean, that's pretty awesome. I gotta go with Gore on this one.
You know, I think I'm going to go with the slimy weapons dealer in this one just because he was kind of funny.
You know, all right. I like it. I love it.
Because I am too. This is your guy, Trent. This is your guy, and you voted against him.
That's amazing. I didn't even pick him, but the sales pitch. It's all, I'm so happy right now.
I think there was a lot to be desired left with Gore, and Hammer kind of did what he needed to do in the story, because really it was Whiplash that was the villain, but Hammer was just like the idiot version of Tony Stark that was really funny.
Yeah.
And I hope he's back in Armor Wars or Ironheart to do some more like crazy dancing with marine drones. And the scene with the ex-wife is just like hilarious.
Priceless.
I would love to see him back. All right, Justin Hammer takes the dub. All right, next we got Obadiah Stane, the first MCU villain, taking on Mysterio.
Now, I'm never going to disrespect Jeff Bridges. He is one of the icons of cinema. However, I was talking about the problem of the same versus same thing. Obadiah Stane's a little bit what I'm referring to when we're talking about this. Mysterio is so great because you think he's a hero, and then Jake Gyllenhaal turns on the jets, and it's like, no, he's a narcissistic like theater director with access to murder drones. And it's genuinely one of my favorite reveals in the MCU. It's one of my favorite acting choices in the MCU. Everything about that character and that performance, and it actually, in seriousness though, and like emotional connectivity to the protagonist, like he does spurn on Peter Parker to be better. And so I think for all those reasons, Mysterio easily for this one for me.
I will also take Mysterio.
It's going to be 3 for 3 here. Mysterio is my pick as well. Obadiah Stane in the first Iron Man movie really has some great moments. I honestly love his character just because of like how obnoxious he is at certain moments. But I mean, I think Mysterio is the better crafted villain and a great foil for Peter Parker and his journey coming off the heels of Iron Man's death. It really is like the perfect villain to put in his place at that moment in time.
And I just love that he became a villain just because Tony Stark named his technology Barf, and he just couldn't handle that insult. He was just like,
"Hey, we talk."
I think that's a point about MCU villains too. Like half of them have been spurned by Tony Stark.
Yes. So. Tony Stark has created the most problems for himself than any other hero we know. All right, Mysterio taking a win. Next, we have Agatha Harkness, our favorite singing witch from WandaVision, versus Abomination.
Ooh, this is interesting.
This is
because I don't really remember. I love WandaVision. It's probably my favorite TV show they've done. That's it. I don't remember exactly what Agatha was trying to do. So for that reason alone,
oh no,
I feel like since that hasn't stuck in my brain at all, I'm actually going to give this to Abomination, even though it's a very like arguably surface level punchy villain.
Abomination has had like such a weird character turn where he used to be this rage monster, and now he's like
the Zen
motivational
monster.
Speaker that like fights in magical fight rings. So just for like how funny he turned out to be, I'm gonna take Abomination.
See, I love Abomination in She-Hulk. But he's not a villain in She-Hulk. I like Agatha. And to refresh your memory, Agatha was trying to steal Wanda's magic because Wanda has the like, what is it, chaos magic? I think it's it's the specific strand of magic that Wanda has. So and we're gonna get more of her in the near future with the Agatha the Darkhold Diary show. So but Abomination takes the win anyways. And we move on to our next. Ooh, okay. I'm excited about this one. We have a new MCU villain, the High Evolutionary from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 versus there's no introduction needed, Thanos.
Ooh, this is tough. Because the High Evolutionary, like I love that Marvel was on this run of creating these very psychologically complex people with like tragic backstories, and that was a thing for a while for Marvel. And then James Gunn came in and was just like, we're gonna create a villain that you just love to hate. And that like tortures animals, and like you guys are like he's gonna be the worst, but you're still gonna like find him charismatic. But like Thanos, man, he snapped away half the universe, and it's interesting because I think you could debate this of Infinity War Thanos or Endgame Thanos because they're a little bit different. Like if I love Infinity War Thanos. Don't really care as much for Endgame Thanos. Because I like that Infinity War Thanos was a little more like laid back, almost like that made him more scary, and the fact that he like respected the Avengers was really cool too. But yeah, this is close for me. But I like Thanos just out of pure threat and menace and just the whole vibe. Barely edging out the High Evolutionary for me.
I'll say he more than barely edges out High Evolutionary for me, but I did enjoy the High Evolutionary as a villain, but I still got to go Thanos.
Yeah, it's the same deal. Like this is unfair. The High Evolutionary was a great Marvel villain, one of the greatest additions to the MCU in recent memory. But it's Thanos. What are we doing here? I mean, like the most important villain, arguably, in the history of the universe. So I'm picking Thanos as well. we move on to our next matchup, and here we are starting to get repeats. So in order to figure out our rankings, we will get repeats. So just keep that in mind. We might go a little quicker pace now. Our next matchup is Wenwu versus Ultron.
I'm gonna go with Wenwu. Just for the complexity, like Ultron, it's the joke that's been made 1,000 times. The problem with Age of Ultron is that it's 3 days of Ultron. Like we don't ever get a sense of
a weekend of Ultron.
We don't get a sense of his scope at all in this. I love James Spader. I love that like he has Tony Stark's kind of sarcasm, and stuff like that. Like it's a great performance, if you will, because it's motion capture and voiceover. But yeah, I think Wenwu, for all the reasons we've already talked about, edges this one out for me.
I'll take Ultron.
Yeah, okay. This is a tricky one because I love Wenwu, but it's been a while since I've rewatched Age of Ultron, but I think weirdly, like the more space we've gotten from it, and then seeing WandaVision and getting like some memories from that movie through watching WandaVision, like Ultron was very significant to the MCU, to the overall journey that our characters take. And I think for that, I got to pick Ultron. So
not mad about it.
Ultron takes the win over Wenwu. That was a tough one. Next we have Zemo versus Namor from Black Panther: Wakanda Forever.
Since Namor is so complex and like opens up this whole other aquatic world building thing of the MCU, I'm going to give the edge to Namor here.
Okay.
I will stick with Zemo.
This is tough. Oh my gosh. Like I told you guys, I love Zemo so much. I think he's great. This is hard. And I love Namor, but I think I gotta go Zemo. I do think Namor is one of the villains that is hard to qualify as a villain.
That's also part of it.
Yeah. It's one of those things where his character is fantastic. Don't get me wrong. But at the end of the day, like I mean, I almost think Valentina, the new like Nick Fury, is almost more of a villain than Namor is. You know what I mean? Like I just So I'm gonna go Zemo. So Zemo takes that one,
Nick Fury,
and then we're gonna keep Namor in the ring. Namor versus Arthur Harrow.
I'm gonna go. It's a little tough because Arthur Harrow, is the avatar for this like Egyptian god of violence and death and chaos and all these things. But at the end of the day, he's just an avatar, whereas Namor's a fully realized character. Yes. So I'm gonna go Namor here.
Yes.
I will take Namor.
Yeah, it's exactly what you said. Namor is a fully realized character. I can't say Arthur Harrow is, so I'm going Namor as well. Now, Joseph, I'm excited. Green Goblin versus the Vulture, 2 Spidey villains, and we know we have a Vulture stand in the Zencaster call. What is it gonna be? All right, Train, you start.
I think actually, as a villain, the idea that Vulture ended up being this perfect foil for Tom Holland's Spider-Man of like. When you have a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man who needs to learn to keep his feet on the ground, they crafted this great villain who just like wanted to put food on the table for his family and provide a good life for his family. So I think just because of that way, that perfectly was a foil to Spider-Man as opposed to just being a villain for him to beat up. I'm actually going to give this one to Vulture.
Interesting. Joseph, how about you?
I love Vulture for those reasons that Trent said.
Yeah.
And I've never had an experience with a Marvel villain like I have when Peter Parker knocks on the door to pick up his date for homecoming and Vulture opens the door. I was sitting in the theater like, he's got him, captive. How do you know he's Spider-Man? And then you figure it out and you're like, wait, he's just like a guy.
Yep.
So I am going to take Vulture because I love Vulture.
That moment is literally one of the best plot twists in the MCU period.
Yes.
Vulture may be the most relatable villain in the MCU.
Yeah,
100%.
He's the only one he's not fighting with his superpowers or this like otherworldly god. Like he's literally just trying to survive in the world around him. Like it's true. I also got to go Vulture here. I think Green Goblin is great, but I think Green Goblin is more of like a caricature in No Way Home as opposed to like a real character that we're supposed to care about. I gotta go Vulture. I gotta go Vulture. So Vulture wins that one. Next, this is good. Loki versus He Who Remains. He Who Remains being the variant of Kang that we see at the end of Loki season 1. And spoiler alert, we see a crispy version of him in Loki season 2. All right. Who's it gonna be, guys?
I think I gotta go. I mean, just Loki.
It's got to be Loki, right?
It's Loki. Like I could list reasons why, but we all know the reasons why.
Yeah,
Loki.
Yeah, but I will say, like, in case we don't talk about He Who Remains, to have one episode to kind of assert your dominance in the universe, He Who Remains was incredible. Like literally just needed like 30 minutes to basically reinvent the wheel of the power structure in the MCU.
100%. No, it's a great way to introduce the character without immediately jumping into like shooting lasers and blowing things up, but just this guy who's above time. He thinks as a character.
Yes.
No, really well crafted.
All right, our next matchup: He Who Remains versus Ego.
He Who Remains.
He Who Remains.
I was going to say Ego, actually, but you guys have already decided He Who Remains wins. Next, we got Wanda Maximoff versus Killmonger. Oh, Killmonger, we haven't gotten to yet. All right, we got to talk about Killmonger.
Yeah, I know we just said that that Vulture's like the most relatable, and we talked a lot about complex villains. Killmonger might be the most complex villain like the MCU's ever created.
Yeah.
And that like obviously like he takes his violent actions a bit too far, but you totally understand where he comes from, to the point that T'Challa does change his approach about Wakanda because of his relationship with Killmonger. And I think that if you can have a villain that you totally buy as a threat to the hero, but also has something of value to teach the protagonist, that's like the euphoria of hero villain screenwriting. And so for that reason alone, Killmonger has to get up there.
Yeah, we had Killmonger teach T'Challa something as a villain in the first movie, and then we had dead Killmonger teach Shuri in the second movie. So,
you're right.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go Killmonger on this one as well.
I literally get chills just thinking about the climax ending scene of T'Challa and Killmonger sitting atop that statue looking out over the sunset over Wakanda. Like that is one of that might be one of the best shots in the MCU period, and one of the best exchanges of dialogue. Yeah, it's Killmonger easily. All right, next we have Justin Hammer versus Red Skull. We haven't hit Red Skull yet either. Joseph, I feel like this is one of your, maybe not favorite, but this is one you have a fondness of.
I think for me, it's I gotta go. I'm gonna make amends for my betrayal of my man earlier, and Justin Hammer for all the reasons we've already said. Red Skull's great. I mean, Hugo Weaving, Elrond, can't disrespect him.
Absolutely.
But as a villain, it is sort of the same versus same thing for that first Captain America movie. Whereas Justin Hammer is a you could argue is a foil for Tony and similar, but like he's kind of the bizarro version of Tony. That he's not the exact same. So yeah, I will redeem my Justin Hammer fan cred.
I will take Red Skull. I'm a really big fan of the first Captain America movie, and he is like opposite Captain America, but I think his desire for power kind of sets him apart from Hammer, who can be kind of pathetic at times. And yeah. I think it aids Hammer's character in it. But I like the Red Skull character. I think his return in Infinity War was really unexpected and cool.
Yeah.
So I'll take Red Skull.
Yeah, that's true. His return in Infinity War was jaw-dropping. Oh my gosh, that was so cool.
So good.
I'm going to go with Trent on this one, though. I think Justin Hammer is the better true villain as a character. No offense, Joseph. Red Skull. We'll see him later. All right, Justin Hammer, you win this one. All right, Red Skull.
I had to be on the losing end of one of these. So.
Red Skull stays in the ring, and he's taking Gore the God Butcher. We'll do rapid fire here.
Red Skull.
Red Skull.
I was going to say Gore the God Butcher, but Red Skull it is. All right, Mysterio versus Yellow Jacket from the first Ant-Man movie.
Mysterio. I actually like Yellow Jacket quite a bit. I think he's underrated, but Mysterio.
I really like Yellow Jacket too, and I will cast a vote for Yellow Jacket. I think he's great. The fact that he comes back in Quantumania as the version of himself that he is, I will never get over. I will truly never get over MODOK.
I still can't believe we saw MODOK's cheeks.
I will never unsee that.
So I literally in the theater, I could not stop laughing every time they showed MODOK's face because of that. For every time for the rest of the movie, I would chuckle.
Yeah,
I think I was annoying the people behind me. It was because I couldn't stop.
It's one of the funniest moments in the MCU by far. Mysterio is going to win though, and next we have Yellow Jacket versus Obadiah Stane.
Yellow Jacket.
Stane.
I'll go Yellow Jacket. I'll roll with my boy Yellow Jacket. All right, next we have Thanos versus Abomination.
Thanos.
Would be a fun matchup. Would be a fun matchup to see the physical altercation there. Thanos.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool, but yeah.
Thanos it is. High Evolutionary versus Abomination.
High Evolutionary.
Yeah, got to be High Evolutionary. Zemo versus Ultron.
Zemo.
Ultron.
All right. Okay, so here's the deal. We're gonna hash it out. Ultron is such a product of Tony that I feel like while he has moments with each of the other Avengers, his true nemesis is Tony. Because of the creation process that happens to Tony. However, Zemo is actually fighting the structure that is the Avengers. And to me, that's a little more impressive. So I'm going to go Zemo. Ultron versus Namor.
Ultron.
Yeah, Ultron's yeah, I gotta go Ultron there. Namor versus Wenwu.
Wenwu.
Yeah, also Wenwu. United front here. Namor versus Hela. They are trying to get Namor a dub.
Namor.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Namor.
Yeah, I think I like Namor as a character more. Hela versus Arthur Harrow.
Hela.
Joseph doesn't like this at all.
I guess I'll take Hela.
Yeah, I would take Hela as well here. I do like Hela more. The Vulture versus Loki. It's a tough one. That's a tough one, guys. Because if you want to talk about it, you could say Loki does kind of become a hero. He's not a villain for that long.
Right, so there's that angle. So it may be a sinking ship, but I'm going to go with Vulture on this one.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Whew. This is tough.
This is the worst one.
Guys, this is so...
I will take Loki.
Oh my gosh, you're going to make me do it, Joseph. Dang it. I should have answered before you. Oh, this is hard. Yeah, I think I also have to go Loki. I think he had a bigger impact on the MCU. I think for that reason
we had a reverse situation of you with Hammer with me because I love Vulture so much.
I know, exactly. You turned on your guy. Yeah, it's got to be Loki, I think. Vulture versus He Who Remains.
Vulture.
I'll say Vulture, yeah, easily.
Vulture.
He Who Remains versus Green Goblin.
Green Goblin.
Green Goblin.
I'll say He Who Remains, but Green Goblin takes the cake there. Ronan versus He Who Remains.
He Who Remains.
Yeah.
He Who Remains.
Same here. He Who Remains. It is Ego versus Ronan. A little Guardians face off. I don't know. It's like this is what my friend Alex likes to call a mid off.
Ronan? Ronan?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm Ron Burgundy. Yeah, I'll take Ronan.
Okay, I like Ego more, but we'll give Ronan the victory. Hammer, Justin Hammer versus Killmonger. Trent is tortured inside. I'll cast my vote for Killmonger right off the bat.
Since I know where it's going, I'm gonna throw the vote for Hammer just to say it on paper.
There you go.
But I know where this is going and where it should go. To be clear,
Killmonger.
Yeah, good for you. Good for you getting your agenda out there. Justin Hammer versus Wanda Maximoff.
You know what? Since she's arguably not a villain and just has a bad spot,
yes,
I'm going right back to my boy Justin Hammer.
You got me. I'm voting Justin Hammer as well.
I will be in the minority on this one. I'll take Wanda.
Justin Hammer is going to be so high on this list for no reason. Red Skull versus Wanda Maximoff.
Wanda.
Red Skull.
I am also going to pick Wanda. And we have Red Skull versus Kang the Conqueror from Quantumania.
Kang.
Ooh, okay.
Red Skull.
This is where you got me, Joseph. I'll go Red Skull. I'll go Red Skull.
Nice.
All right, Kang the Conqueror versus Gore the God Butcher.
Gore.
Kang.
Gore the God Butcher. Gore the God Butcher. I liked him more. Thanos versus Mysterio. Oh, guys, I'll go first. This got to be Thanos.
Yeah.
You want to say Mysterio, Trent? Go ahead.
Yeah, I do. Go ahead. I'll throw it in there. I just love that character. It's so great.
Mysterio versus the High Evolutionary. That one's real tough.
High Evolutionary.
I will also go High Evolutionary.
Me too. It's a close one. It's not fair he went up against Thanos the first time. Mysterio versus Abomination.
Mysterio.
Yeah, got to be Mysterio. Abomination versus Yellow Jacket.
Yellow Jacket.
This one kind of sucks too.
I like Yellow Jacket. I'm voting Yellow Jacket. So
I'll say Abomination.
You don't even have to worry about it, Joseph. Abomination.
Yeah, I know. I'll take the loser.
Abomination versus Obadiah Stane.
Abomination.
Oh, that was quick.
Stane.
Yeah, I'm with you, Joseph. Obadiah Stane. Love me some Obadiah Stane in the right amounts. Loki versus Zemo.
Loki, but it hurts.
Loki.
I'll vote Zemo. It doesn't matter, but I love Zemo. Zemo versus the Vulture. Oh, this is tough.
Vulture.
Okay, maybe it's not tough.
Vulture. It's not tough. It's Vulture.
I'll vote for Zemo again. I love Zemo, but you guys are probably right. Are you? I don't know. It's the Vulture anyway.
Joseph and I may just like Vulture a lot more than like 90% of the viewing audience.
It's not that I don't like him. It's just that I love Zemo for some reason. Green Goblin versus Zemo.
Zemo.
Green Goblin.
Well, you already know. It's Zemo again. I can't shake it. He is my hero. Green Goblin versus Ultron.
Goblin.
This was a tough one for me. I'll take Green Goblin.
I would have said Ultron personally, but we got Green Goblin winning that one. Ultron versus He Who Remains.
Ultron.
Ultron.
Yeah, it's Ultron. It's Ultron across the board. He Who Remains versus Wenwu.
Wenwu.
Yeah. Easy Wenwu for me as well. He Who Remains versus Namor.
He Who Remains.
Namor.
Yeah, I'm with you, Joseph. Namor. He Who Remains versus Hela.
He Who Remains.
He Who Remains.
Yeah, I'm with you guys there. He Who Remains. Hela versus Ronan.
Hela.
Yeah. I think it's got to be Hela. Ronan versus Arthur Harrow. They really, this machine really wants us to distinguish who we like the least. I can start this one off. I would say Arthur Harrow. I just like the performance of Ethan Hawke.
Yeah. I think that's what's pushing me over too on this one. I'll go Harrow as well.
I'll stick with Ronan in the losing category.
Thanos versus Killmonger. This is it. This is the one, guys. This is the one, because I think if you look at lists out there, this is the debate across most in the fandom. Who is the best Marvel villain? And I think it comes down to these two right here.
You know what? For complexity, and because I don't love the version of the character that shows up in Endgame, I'm going to give it to Killmonger. Ooh. If it was purely Infinity War versus Killmonger, this would be even tougher. It's already tough, but because of that little distinction that I'm making personally, I'm gonna go with Killmonger.
All right, so
Thanos.
You said Thanos?
Yeah.
That's your vote? Okay. All right, so for me, Killmonger also floats in the territory a little bit with Namor, where yes, he is a villain, but he is so complex that you're kind of like, okay, I could root for you here. I think Thanos, you understand him, but you're never rooting for Thanos. And I think for that reason, I gotta go Thanos. So Thanos over Killmonger. That how do we like that? Do we feel okay with that?
I actually like that argument there, Josh, about like you understand Thanos, but you never root for him. That's pretty solid. That's pretty great.
Thanks, man.
That's just a really tough choice to make.
Yeah,
because they're two really great villains with just completely different reasons why they're villains.
Right, exactly. They are totally different. They just happen to be the two best executed, I think. I just potentially, you could throw the Vulture in there. Killmonger versus the High Evolutionary.
High Evolutionary, just because he's more fun to hate. Just because he's more fun to hate. After what we kind of just said.
You say
I'll take Killmonger in this one. Yeah,
I'm with Joseph. I do think Killmonger is still the better villain. Maybe I'm going back on my word a little bit. I agree that High Evolutionary is more fun to hate, but I think I gotta go Killmonger. Okay. Justin Hammer back on the board versus the High Evolutionary.
This is actually shockingly tough. Like, people may not believe me. This is not a bit. Like, I'm actually like...
Trent is sweating bullets. Well, I'll start. I'll go on. I'll start and vote the High Evolutionary. Give Trent...
I will also take the High Evolutionary.
All right, well, then I'll throw it to my boy just because.
We knew where you were going. Come on. Justin Hammer versus Mysterio.
Oh gosh, they're actually weirdly similar. So it's actually really hard.
They are weirdly similar. I think I would go Mysterio on this one.
Yeah, I'll edge it to Mysterio. Yeah, but it hurts me.
Mysterio.
Yep, it's a sweep. Justin Hammer versus Yellow Jacket.
Hammer.
Easy. Yeah, I'll go Hammer as well. Yellow Jacket versus Wanda Maximoff.
Wanda.
Yeah, it's Wanda. Red Skull versus Yellow Jacket.
Red Skull.
Yeah, we know where this is going. Yeah, I'll pick Yellow Jacket just because. Yellow Jacket versus Gore the God Butcher.
Gore.
Yep, Gotta be Gore the God Butcher. It's a great Christian Bale performance. Yellow Jacket versus Kang the Conqueror. This one's tough. They end up being allies.
Yeah, it's interesting.
I would go just gut reaction, Kang the Conqueror.
Yeah, Kang.
And next we have Thanos versus Loki.
What the heck?
Guys, this is what we're here to do. This is what makes it so difficult.
Loki, barely.
Ooh, really? Interesting. Yeah. I know, I'm with you, Joseph. I'm struggling on this one.
Thanos.
That's how barely. I feel. That's exactly how I feel. I'm like, Thanos, don't hate me. Yeah, this would be the other one I think that could be easily debated. Thanos or Loki as the greatest Marvel villain. But I'm with you. I think Thanos. I'm gonna roll with Thanos on this one. Loki versus Killmonger.
Killmonger.
Yeah. Okay.
Loki.
You do it to me. So one for one for Killmonger, one for Loki. I think Killmonger. I think we've had too much tape of Loki as a hero now. I've been studying the tape of Loki the hero lately, so I'm going Killmonger. Loki versus the High Evolutionary. I mean, I'll go first. Got to be Loki.
Yeah, I'll just throw it to the High Evolutionary then, just for kicks.
High Evolutionary versus the Vulture.
Vulture.
Whoa, Vulture. That was quick. Actually, I'm with you guys. Yeah, the Vulture. High Evolutionary versus Zemo. Uh-oh.
High Evolutionary.
Zemo.
Oh, man. Oh. You know what? Gosh, I voted for him so many times. But I actually think I'm going to go High Evolutionary. Call me crazy. I'm turning my back on Zemo. I think High Evolutionary is just he's such a what he did to Rocket is so unacceptable that that is by far the most wicked thing we've seen. Well, not really, but it's pretty high up there. Mysterio versus Zemo. You know I'm rocking with Zemo. We
yeah, I think it's got to be Zemo on this one.
Yeah. You could say Mysterio, but it doesn't matter. Because next we have Mysterio versus Green Goblin.
Mysterio.
Green Goblin.
I think Mysterio.
I think Mysterio is just the better Tom Holland Spider-Man villain. That's the only reason I made that distinction right there.
Yep. I'm with you, Trent. That's the exact same reason for me. Justin Hammer versus Green Goblin.
Green Goblin.
What? Goblin. Yeah, I'll go Goblin here. Justin Hammer versus Ultron.
Justin Hammer.
Ultron.
I love you, Trent. I'm gonna go with Ultron as well. Justin Hammer versus Wenwu.
Wenwu.
Yeah. I think Wenwu easily. Hammer versus Namor.
Hammer.
Yeah, I'm with Joseph here. Namor. Justin Hammer versus He Who Remains.
Hammer.
It is just Justin Hammer versus the world.
He Who Remains.
You can just copy paste my.
It is just Hammer. Unquestioned loyalty. I'm gonna go He Who Remains. Justin Hammer versus Hela.
Hammer, 100%.
This is unreal.
I'll take Hammer in this.
Oh, welcome back.
There we go. Finally, free him from the ring. He's pleading to be let out. Oh, Justin Hammer. All right, he's gone. Wanda Maximoff versus Hela.
Wanda.
Yeah, Wanda for me as well. Red Skull versus Hela.
Red Skull.
I go Hela, but that's all right. Red Skull wins. Hela versus Gore the God Butcher. 2 Thor villains.
Gore.
Hela.
Yeah, Hela. Gore the God Butcher versus Arthur Harrow.
Gore.
Yeah, I'm with y'all. Gore. Arthur Harrow versus Kang the Conqueror.
Kang.
Yeah, Kang the Conqueror. Yellow Jacket versus Arthur Harrow.
Yellow Jacket.
Yep, Yellow Jacket for me as well. Obadiah Stane versus Arthur Harrow.
Obadiah Stane.
Yeah, Stane for me as well. Abomination versus Arthur Harrow.
Abomination.
I'll vote for poor Arthur Harrow. He's pleading to get 1 vote, but it doesn't matter. Agatha Harkness versus Arthur Harrow.
Arthur Harrow.
Okay.
I'll throw one his way and say Arthur Harrow. Just get him out of here.
Yeah, I would say Agatha, but yeah, Arthur takes that one. Thank God he's gone. Agatha Harkness versus Ronan.
Agatha
because of the song.
Yep.
Yeah, that's it. That's all you need. Yeah, Agatha for me as well. All right, that's the last one. Woo, we did it, guys. We did it. Okay, we have reached the end of, our really intense battles. Guys, I don't know about you, but I feel like Rocky after a 10-round fight. I don't know about y'all, but, we've been through the ringer.
It was quite the experience.
We've been through the stinger.
Oh! Okay. I would like you all to guess who you think is number 1 on our list.
Loki?
I will guess Thanos.
It is Thanos. Would you like to guess who's number 2 on our list?
Loki?
Killmonger.
It is Killmonger.
All right. Now
would you like to guess who's number 3 on our list?
Loki?
I'll go Loki this time.
There you go. You guys are right. You guys are both right this time. Trent, I like your strategy of guess until you are proven correct.
I knew that it was those were the variation of the 3. I just was like, yeah.
I would like to submit Arthur Harrow as the bottom of the list.
Yeah, that's great. Any other guesses for who's last?
It's either Harrow or Ronan. It has to be those 2.
Guys, I'm here to tell you it's neither of those characters.
Really?
It is Ego.
Oh, yeah, that's fair. He got buried in the polls early.
He got buried early. This is fascinating. Okay, so I'm going to read the list in its full order. And you guys
going top to bottom or bottom to top?
Top to bottom. Actually, no. Sorry, screw that. We'll go bottom to top. We'll go bottom to top to keep the suspense building.
Because I got to know how far my boy made it up on this list.
Trent's here for one reason and one reason only.
If Hammer is higher than Vulture, me and Trent are gonna fight.
I want to
100% be because it's my fault.
when we're done with this here, I want us to debate. How about this? We each could choose one character to try to boost up the rankings with a pitch that we've crafted. First or in last place, 25th on the list is Ego, as we just mentioned. 24, Ronan. 23, Agatha Harkness. 22, Arthur Harrow. There he is. He finally got placed somewhere. 21, Abomination. All right, so now we're in our top 20. 20, Obadiah Stane. 19, Yellow Jacket. 18, Kang the Conqueror. 17, Gore the God Butcher. 16, Hela. Any qualms so far, guys?
No, I mean, I think Gore could be a little higher, but not enough that I'm like, what? everything else, I'm like, yeah, that's about where.
Yeah.
I'm cool with it.
Yeah, I'm with you, Joseph. I'm cool with it. All right. Our top 15. We start with 15 is Red Skull. 14 is Wanda Maximoff. 13. Let me make sure I'm reading this correctly. That's right. It's Justin Hammer.
Oh, way too low.
Coming in at 13th.
He needed to be in that top 10 at least. I didn't think he'd make it the top 5, but I was hoping top 10 with all those yes votes.
You were trying so hard. Number 12 is He Who Remains. Number 11 is Namor. And then I'll pause for our top 10. And all right, let's be real. Do we think Namor and He Who Remains deserve to be above Justin Hammer?
No. Like, actually.
Or
at least not He Who Remains.
All right. I like this.
I think I'm cool with it.
I would say not He Who Remains. I think Hammer is the better villain, but I would say Namor. I got to give it to Namor in that instance. But we're not done yet. We've hit our top 10 now. 10 is Wenwu. 9 is Ultron. 8 is Green Goblin. 7 is Mysterio. And 6 is Zemo. Gosh, I tried so hard, Zemo. I tried so hard to get you to the promised land of the top 5 MCU villain rankings, but I guess it didn't work. You're right on the outside.
I feel like we would surprise a lot of the internet if we said Mysterio was a top 10 MCU villain. Like if we just dropped that.
You think so?
I'm cool with it, but I feel like the internet would be
it's
like
an unpopular opinion. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird seeing Green Goblin there. I'm not gonna lie, because I don't think of him in the MCU. But I guess that's just me.
I get that from that argument, but I think as a villain and character and performance, I think it is one of the apex supervillain performances ever. So I'm cool with it.
I don't know if we got this matchup. We probably did, but do you guys think Ultron deserves to be above Wenwu?
Wenwu ends up being sympathetic enough, that as a pure villain to villain matchup, yes, but Wenwu is for sure the better character. 100%.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I agree with Trent.
Yeah, when I saw that, I was like, interesting. I feel like Wenwu might be better. Okay. Top 5 time. You already know the top 3. I probably shouldn't have revealed them right off the bat, but that's okay. We're learning here. 5 is the High Evolutionary. 4.
It's higher than I thought it would be.
Yeah, same. We can come back to that. 4 is the Vulture. The Vulture.
4 on the list.
Joseph, you did great. List. You did so good.
4 on the list.
You're clearly the best campaigner.
Number 1 in my heart.
Clearly the best campaigner amongst the 3 of us. And then, as we already said, 3 is Loki. 2 is Killmonger. 1 is Thanos. High Evolutionary. When you watch Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, did you think, dang, yeah, that's a top 5 MCU villain?
I actually kind of did. I'll be honest. I actually had that thought. I was like, this is one of the best villains they've ever done.
Wow. Okay.
Maybe not top 5, but I would have said top 7 coming out of that theater.
Interesting.
I might have put him like top 10, but not 5.
Yeah, I agree with you, Joseph. That's what I would have thought. But after doing this thought exercise, I don't disagree with it. Like, I look at this list and I'm like, yeah, I actually I think these are all where they deserve to be. The only one to me, I think I would do Zemo 5, High Evolutionary 6.
I think I could get behind that. I just remembered someone that we may have forgotten.
Who?
Alexander Pierce.
From Winter Soldier?
Oh, that's true. We didn't have any Winter Soldier representation, technically.
That's true. That one's tough for me because I always think of just Hydra as the organization.
Right, it's more
feels more like the villain to me.
Yeah. So I don't think it would drastically change.
It's a great shout out.
No, it wouldn't change. I don't think it would change the top 10 really.
I don't think so either. Yeah, but that is a good one worth mentioning. Yeah, guys, this is all right. So the top 10 MCU villains according to the Stinger: Thanos, Killmonger, Loki, the Vulture, the High Evolutionary, Zemo, Mysterio, Green Goblin, Ultron, and Wenwu. Seems like a good list to me. I actually look at that and I'm like, I don't think it's wrong.
Yeah, I'm not mad about that. I mean, obviously Justin Hammer should be in the top 10, but you know,
who are you kicking out, Trent? I'm curious.
Like I'm actually not mad about any of these, so not really. But if I had to pick one, if I would actually kick out Ultron.
Ooh, okay, all right, spicy take.
If I had to,
we'll leave it to the fans to decide. Who do you think deserves to be in the top 10? Ultron or Justin Hammer? Maybe we'll pose that question to the fans. You guys can vote on social media for us. But yeah,
and if any of the fans try to take Vulture out of the top 10, they're gonna catch these hands.
Oh yeah, so. Same. I'm so happy he was number 4. I was like, yes.
Oh, he's a great.
I think actually I did this briefly as a mental exercise, like ranking them on my own years ago, and I think that I actually put him at like number 3 or 4.
Really?
So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that.
Okay, that's interesting.
You know, and technically now we've got the Kingpin also.
Yeah, that's true. Now it's not the same Kingpin that we all knew and loved in Netflix, but that's true. He is here. Yeah, would love to hear your thoughts as a listener on how we did. Let us know on social media or elsewhere how we did, and if you disagree with any of our picks, I'm sure you do, because I think people really feel passionately about these MCU characters. So, guys, I think that's going to do our rankings talk. I feel pretty good. I feel pretty good about our list. All right. Well, that is going to do it for today's episode. Trent and Joseph, you guys rock. Thank you for bringing your absolute A game to the podcast today. I feel really good about our Stinger official top 25 MCU villains. Thank you all for listening, as always, and we will be back soon. You'll get to hear some thoughts about Loki season 2 from us. So stay tuned. Subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts, and subscribe to us on YouTube. And then follow us at The Stinger Pod on Instagram and on TikTok for the latest updates. And we will be back soon.